Do you ever wonder why audiences connect with a magician or a performer on the stage at some times and others not so much? As a magician, we all wonder what makes an audience connect with the performer up on the stage. We all want to form a deeper connection with our audiences, but we don't always know how or why or what can make that better. Juan Tamariz, one of the most respected and renowned magicians in the entire world, has written a book dedicated to making our magic better, forming deeper connections, and all of the other things he's learned. The book is The Magic Rainbow, and this was originally published back in 2016 in a Spanish version, and then in 2019 for the first time in English. This is a massive, almost 600-page book, and I'm not going to review it in this video. Instead, what I'd like to do is take a deep dive into a 6-page essay that Juan Tamariz penned in this book called The 7 Magic Veils. In this small section of the book, he explains what he has found to form a deeper connection with audiences in a way that even he doesn't fully comprehend. So let's take a look at these 7 magic veils together and see what we can learn from one of the greatest performers ever to practice magic. The first mystery or veil that Juan Tamariz talks about is the love for what you do. Effectively, what Juan is talking about in this first veil is that your audience can feel when you are passionate about the subject of magic, when you study things, whether or not you're ever going to perform them. You engage with other magicians because you absolutely love everything about magic. Juan even goes as far as to compare two performers, one with greater skill but less love for magic to one with lesser skill but more love for magic. And his assertion is that the performer with more love and even less skill will still be better received by the audience because they'll feel that love and reciprocate it back to the magician. His second veil is about the mystery of effort or work. That is, you're practicing, you're rehearsing, you're learning your moves, and you're working on your blocking and tackling on the stage, or if you're doing close-up, your chops. The audience can feel the work that you put into something. If you're performing magic that's maybe self-working and you really haven't put a lot of thought into what you're going to say, the audience can feel that, whether or not they really know how much work you've put into a piece. The lesson here, I think, is that if we dedicate ourselves to magic and we really put the work in, push ourselves beyond maybe what our comfort zone is until we can get those sleights and that scripting down, once we achieve that, our audiences will feel the work that we put into it and love that piece of magic even more. And sometimes this could even just mean the work that you put into researching the best possible version of a specific trick. I've done videos on this about how to take a trick, put some work into it to make it your own, maybe even borrowing from different write-ups of the same type of trick to figure out what works best for you and your audiences. All of that counts as work, and your audience will feel it and appreciate it all the more. This episode is being sponsored by Don's Magic and Books. One of the big mysteries that isn't explained by anyone is how Don manages to find all of these out-of-print and rare books that he continuously offers on his website at absolutely great deals. No matter what you're looking for, the latest publication or something older, Don is one of the best places for one-stop shopping with free shipping if you meet minimum thresholds and live in the United States. So many of you have told me how much you appreciate shopping with Don, knowing that he is a great guy and of course offers some great magic books for your library. So no matter what you're looking for, head over to his website. I'll drop a link down in the description below so that you can find the next book that deserves to be on your shelf. The third veil is one of knowledge and wisdom. And I really like this one, and I know you will too as erudite magicians, that your audience can feel when you know more about a subject than even what you're sharing with them at the time. Have you read up on the history of magic? Do you know other sleights that maybe aren't even incorporated into your routine? Have you read more books? Have you interacted with other magicians at conventions? All of these lead to wisdom and knowledge. And it's the assertion of the author that that undisplayed knowledge is felt by the audience. The fourth veil is the mystery of energy. How do you transmit the feeling that you have about these tricks or magic in general to your audience? Do you take care of yourself? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you rested up? Are you ready to go? Do you have a nervous energy, or are you calm and relaxed because you know you've put in the work and you're prepared? We all know this and have felt it. The audience feeds off of our energy as performers, which is why The Magician in Trouble actually works when it's sold properly. If the audience feels that nervous energy, then they'll ride that wave of energy with you to the low points, and when the trick becomes successful, the highs are even higher. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of energy are you putting across both in your daily life and as a performer? Are those two things the same? Is one slightly elevated, or is it all nervous energy? The fifth veil that he shares is one that I find very interesting because I've heard a lot of different perspectives on this, and is the mystery of truth. In other words, your audience can perceive and feel when you're actually telling the truth. Let's take, for example, Rubik's Cube magic. One of the reasons that I don't actually do any Rubik's Cube magic in my show is because I had learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but I'm not that good at it, and I couldn't do it under fire. So I don't think it makes sense for me to go out and do a Rubik's Cube piece of magic where I'm doing an instant solve or something like that, when the audience might be able to perceive or feel that I don't really know that much about this classic toy. And going to the other side, it makes far more sense to present something that you're able to speak the truth about, something that you have a message that you want to communicate. And perhaps most interesting in this section of the essay was when Juan pointed out that this even applies to the script that you're using. If you are taking someone else's gags or using someone else's script that you didn't come up with yourself, it's not quite as good as speaking your own truth to the audience. Food for thought. The sixth veil is one of a rich inner world. That when you know things outside the world of magic, that you have other hobbies, that you're well read, you're up on news, that you've actually studied things, reflected on it, and you're willing to share your vulnerability with the world. Basically, if you are erudite, then your audience can feel that. And the final mystery that Juan Tamariz shares in this essay is the mystery of love. That you are loving being with your audience, that you enjoy performing for them and sharing some of these truths and work and wisdom that you've accumulated, and that you're creating a special moment together. Basically, he calls it the mystery of love and magic. Now, he calls these mysteries or veils because he can't explain how does the audience know, even when you don't share it with them, that you've done more reading or worked on this trick longer, that you know things about other areas of the world. Juan Tamariz firmly believes that your audience can feel these 7 things whether or not they are completely aware of their existence, and I happen to believe that that's probably true. If there is something unexplainable in the world about how people can feel an energy from you or perceive things about you that may not be obvious. But what do you think? Which one of these mysteries most intrigues you? And do you think that audiences can feel these things? At the end of the day, I think that these go beyond just making you a better magician. These can make you a better communicator for any time you're in front of an audience, whether that's performing magic, giving a speech, making a presentation at work, or even making a YouTube video. If you've watched to this point in the video, then you're clearly an erudite magician, and I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. Did you enjoy a deeper dive into a larger book? Let me know if we should do this again sometime. Obviously, this is just a very small snippet of a much larger book, but this reminds me of some of the advice that I gave in this video about how you can get more out of your magic books. So if you haven't checked it out, there might just be something for you there. As always, my friends, I truly appreciate you watching, and until next time, keep reading.